Hello, and welcome to the W.A.I.T channel. What Am I Thinking? A podcast where two sisters share uplifting conversations on fun and sometimes serious topics.
Join us each week by clicking the notification bell and subscribing to our channel. If you enjoy the show, use the share link. It's one of the best ways to expand the conversation.
Welcome to the W.A.I.T channel. What am I thinking? Today's topic will be newsworthy events, things that are happening in our world, in our country, that we want to kind of weigh in on. So hopefully by the time this airs, Ketanji Brown Jackson will have been officially appointed to the courts. But we would like to kind of take a step back and talk about her confirmation hearings and some of the questions that were brought up and the way in which she was questioned and the whole circus of it all. So, Lori, what did you think about her confirmation hearings? Anything stand out to you?
First off, I just want to say, I think people kind of forget that when film is running, when things are being recorded, that becomes a part of our history. And the week of her confirmation hearings, I was actually watching a documentary on when they started busing, and it was in Pennsylvania. And the parents and, just this really volatile time. And they started in the back showing the individuals that were involved, and they went to the future to speak to them after many years have passed and their remorse and their regret. When I watched certain senators pull out childhood books that had zero to do with this person that's there for a specific reason, not for you to have your platform so that you've got whoever your constituents are or people that you're going to be going to for money are listening. And then afterwards, to show you looking on your phone to see if what you said was trending.
Wow.
That to me speaks volumes.
Yeah.
And I have no other words to say.
Yeah. It was, I didn't watch it from beginning to end, but I watched it enough to be disappointed in the process. And having watched other confirmation hearings for the Supreme Court, the line of questioning was beyond questionable. Because it would be different if this was her first confirmation hearing before that body. It was not.
And the telling thing is if you're going to have a beef with someone about someone, first let's get all the background information, because that's your supporting information, all right? So one particular person was talking about the child pornography and her sentencing on this one particular person. Well, I had heard about it, but I also had heard that she followed along with 80% of other judges in the country in her ruling. So I was okay with that part of it. But then to hear the backstory about that one particular case.
Yeah, with the 18-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah. And the fact that I don't think it was till after the questioning was done. I don't think it was ever brought into the forefront during the hearing.
No,
I
it was
know
not.
I heard it on other media outlets about the young man. And, she's done so many cases. Of course, she couldn't even gather the specifics as to why she did it the way she did. And to take her words from what she said from the bench, however many years ago, and to use them and not have the full context it made me a little sad, but to hear the context of it and about the young man, and the difference between somebody being 17 and 18 as far as the law is concerned, it does matter. But when it comes to developmentally where they are, not that much difference, unfortunately.
And the individual that chose to beat that drum and their questionable lifestyle.
Yeah.
And for that to be the person to decide, I'm gonna beat this drum.
Yeah. One of them. There was another one that weighed in on that one. It was but you should know the struggle, because I want to say there's some kind of struggle. I can't say specifically what your struggle is, but there's some type of struggle that you should be able to relate to.
Yes.
And to think, but and I think she said it, to feel as if this person who has served in so many capacities on the side of the law, of convicting people, but also we know that people, because they wanted to be upset because she had defended some people from Gitmo, and it's like, as a defense attorney, she did what she was legally and ethically bound to do.
Right.
So everybody, that's the country we have, that everybody gets a defense. So she defended some people that did some despicable things, possibly. They get to be defended. That's what they're supposed to be able to do.
Because of her qualifications, and when you line her qualifications up with the people that she will be serving with, history will paint this as a sad time, that this is what this individual, and I don't want to play the color card or the sex card, but if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, history's not going to shine a pleasant light on what they did.
Right. So you don't have to even play the gender or the color card, because it just is. The fact that here we are in 2022 and she is the first African American female
to make it to that,
to a confirmation hearing for the highest court in the land. That speaks volumes.
Yes, it does.
That speaks volumes. And to look at the resume she had to have to even get there.
More importantly, that she had the information to fill a resume to get there.
The when we look at others whose resume not so stellar, but yet they are on the court.
They're on the court.
So that says a lot. So that's not the only topic we want to talk about. So let's hope that when this airs, that she has already been confirmed and will be serving. But something else came out related to the Supreme Court.
Yes, it did.
And related to January 6th, which I wanted to believe until the commission was done, we wouldn't be talking about January 6th again. But there were some text messages from Jenny Thomas and Mark Meadows, who was the chief of staff for the White House at the time. And they were alarming. And not only the content of them being alarming, but let's fast forward to the Supreme Court when it came to releasing information and trying to keep certain information with executive privilege. Who was the only justice, the only justice to feel as if executive privilege needed to be in place? Clarence Thomas, her husband. So to say that should give people pause, and to feel as if maybe he should have recused himself from that vote and any other vote connected to January 6th and that administration, that should be a given. Now, whether anything's going to happen, I don't know. But his there is not, you can connect the dots with that. And some of the things in those text messages were alarming.
Yes,
they alarming. So yeah, I'm not, I don't feel comfortable about that, to feel as if, because one of the things that did come out, that was said during the confirmation hearings for Ketanji Brown Jackson was, we make the people on the Supreme Court lifetime appointments so that they can make decisions free and clear and unfettered of having to worry about being nominated. But guess what? That does no good if the fix is in before you even reach the court. Right. If people have already paid the dues to get you to kind of check the boxes they need you to check before you even make it to the court.
Right.
So no, it's not a clean hands process. So you want to think that once they get there, because it's a lifetime appointment, that they will vote the way they know they're supposed to, in line with what the law says. But if they've got some skeletons in their closets because of people who have been helping them get to that point, come on. What do you think they're going to do? Whatever type of FBI investigations, which we know, unfortunately, they cannot, sometimes are not as thorough as they should be, whether it's a time thing or things have been hidden very well, but we have dark money in our process. And, whether they don't look deep enough to bring light upon the dark money or what, I don't know, but we know our process is tainted.
But it's like, as you say that, I think that some people, and especially when you read the text messages from Jenny, if you in your mind really feel what you're doing is the path that you believe the country should go, you're not seeing the funds that are coming as dark. They're supporting a cause.
At any cost.
At any cost.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
And so when we look at causes, let's look at our friends over in Ukraine and how this war is still going on, and that we have not found a path to peace. And it's kind of difficult to find that path with Putin. And we heard Biden getting flack for a comment of what he said. And I get it. He was in his emotions and he was not saying policy. And I believe that. I believe he was just speaking from a place of, how do we stop this? How, because when you're upfront and personal with the people impacted, it's hard to keep that political hat on.
More importantly, receiving the data that we're not receiving.
Exactly. Seeing things that we don't get to see. So, yeah, I understand that. And, no, we're not publicly saying regime change, but I don't think too many people would be sad if that happened, if that was the outcome. But that's a people of Russia decision and choice to make.
But you also have to speak to people using the language that they will understand.
True. What do you think about people saying, as far as how much and how far the U.S. should go with engagement, and how being afraid of Putin taking the nuclear option is empowering him and making us look weak?
Perhaps
what do you think about
I should
that?
not be the person to respond to that, because I kid you not, last week's I was just feeling like, drop the nukes. Let's be done with it. Just drop them. Are we going to eradicate the planet? If that's the card that you're playing, where it's chicken.
And that's what I've heard some commentators say. But you've got to look at the weight of that on the person who chooses to say, let's go full on and do World War III and let that be that. Because somebody said the thing that they're saying is, once he does his, then boom, we're doing ours.
Absolutely.
And the fallout from that, we don't know. And that's the sad part about it. And so you don't want to be cavalier with that. But I do think it's okay to say that Because do you want more devastation for a longer period of time, or do you want it's a hard one, because we don't know what type of nuclear option he would take.
But the reality in this also is that when America was the first to create the nuclear bomb, and then the other countries quickly followed, what we persuaded ourselves to believe that mutual destruction was going to be the thing that kept everyone in place. Right. What Putin has shown us, and he's not the only one, because North Korea,
we have others. Yes.
We have others.
Yes.
When you have a country or countries where you have a dictator who's willing to go all the way. History has shown us it has happened. You had Genghis. If we want to go all the way back, Genghis Khan. More recently, Hitler.
Yeah.
Take the whole Iraq. What was the leader of Iraq who refused Saddam who refused to step down? No, thank the Lord they didn't have nuclear. Gaddafi, yes. So mutual destruction is not a guarantee that we're all safe.
Right.
It is not. We've got to figure out something else.
Yeah. And it's hard because you're not dealing with a reasonable person.
No.
And so I take my hat off to Biden. He is really trying to thread that needle in a way that is helping Ukraine, but not putting more countries at risk than need to be. But I'm afraid that in order to get to the point where there's an end, that it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it's going to be, and when you hear about people starving, the food shortage for the soldiers and on both sides. And to see these communities that have just been decimated, it's so sad. Over what? Over somebody wanting to rule somebody that's not under your rule.
Right.
Wanting to take more authority and power, justifying it by really just your egomaniacal mindset, it seems like. So it's sad. There are no winners in that either. Everybody is taking loss, and death is not something that you can take back.
And I think lastly for this topic, before we tie it up with a bow, it's really been disturbing to me to hear certain news outlets really give Biden a hard time about our country, the stance we're taking, the support we're giving, the support we're not giving. This man inherited something that the previous president helped to put into play.
And it's still poisoning the water. Did you hear the most recent comments?
Yes, I
out
did.
loud to Russia?
Yes. Yeah. So we have to keep that in mind. And we know that some outlets, they have their agendas. And clearly, whenever they can take a pot shot, they're going to take a pot shot. But Biden did not create this situation. His administration has to deal with this as best as they can. And like you said, Tracy, there are no winners in this. There are not. And what he said, we may not want to let that be the policy, but it was the truth. It was the truth.
Yeah, it is. So let's pray that cooler minds prevail.
Absolutely.
And that the will of the people will finally come to a point where a change happens that will bring this thing to a ceasefire, so that the death and destruction can stop, and we can start allowing Ukraine's people to return home and rebuild.
I'm looking forward to talking about that.
That will be a great thing to share what we're thinking on.
Okay.
So we shall end this broadcast with a note of hope, and please make sure that you tune in again, set reminders, subscribe, like, comment. Just let us know that you are listening, so that we can continue to share what we are thinking. Thank you.